Well, good evening, folks. Actually, I'm excited this evening because I feel like this is a brand new beginning, and you'll understand why as we continue on this session here this evening. So let me just go ahead and stop the screening here. Let me just go ahead and go on speaker mode and go for full screen. Excellent. Okay, just bear with me here. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, folks, we want to welcome you to this Go for Diamond webinar session this evening. And as you saw the title earlier, and we're going to be talking about how to do an effective onboarding, and it's effective onboarding 101. One of the greatest foundation that I can credit to the fact that Tammy and I are able to live in Florida during the winter. As you know, we don't do winters anymore, except for maybe part of December. And as we got hit pretty hard mid-December actually this year, and the fact that we also live in a beautiful waterfront property in Toronto. Again, guys, it's not about bragging; it's about impressing upon you that there's a reason why this is possible, and the reality is very few people do what we do, and we really focus on the duplication process, automating our system to make sure that we're not constantly like minions constantly working 24 hours a day, even though we do work a lot right now because we're redefining a lot of the things that we did before 2020 that now has to be, kind of revisited. And what we want to talk to you about is how to do an effective onboarding so you don't have to micromanage every time someone comes into your business, but you can actually put your business on autopilot. And that has been the foundation as to why we've done so well in many countries around the world. And then leaders that understands the vision, that wants to make money, that are committed, that are dedicated, they do the work. And as they do the work, if they duplicate within their environment, their ecosystem, then their volume grows. And all of that, as you know, we're all connected, which feeds the volume that creates an income. And I think what happens a lot in this business is people work like minions. They're constantly micromanaging every single pennies, every single associates, every single step, every single things they do, every single things you need to learn. And you become a teacher that never stops teaching. So what we want to do is give you some guidelines on what we recommend for you to do to help you automate your business so you can focus your time and energy in doing the things that matters to keep growing your business and not always getting stuck in time, constantly managing the same folks into your business. Any thoughts, Tammy, before I start sharing my screen?
Well, as you start building an organization, your job is to be there for them, but not do it for them. So I think when you come out, straight out in the gate, when you get started and you give them the system that's available, you're going to know whether they're serious or not. And that's why I want to go through the onboarding process with you, because you're going to practice this. Number one, I highly recommend to practice it with one of your team members. And the new people that are getting started moving forward in 2023, keep a tracker of how this is working for you with the system. Because I know we're always evolving. And once you have a look at the tools, you'll see that you can adjust based on the way you communicate in the message. What's important is, as a sponsor, you have that sense of authority in a way that you are leading them to do the steps. And it's up to the new person to do the steps. And if they don't do the steps, then in that follow-up process, you can find out where they're at, because maybe it's too much for them. Maybe you have to, give them a little bit more time to go through stuff. Because I always tell people, we all have different schedules. We all have different lives. So, pounding on people, get this done at a certain time. Yeah, you want to hit some targets, but you want to make sure you're also being kind when you're building the business and understanding that people, this is a volunteer army business, right? That people don't work for you. And so as we go through this, just keep all of that in mind.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Tammy. And I think it's a point on the line is people do not work for you. And if you tend to work your business in a way that you treat them like employees, like a boss would treat our employees, you will lose that motivation that people have and wanted to build a business. And you can't force it upon them. They need to choose to be part of this venture. And that's why to be constantly recruiting and bringing new people on board it's actually a critical aspect of our business. So let me go ahead, Tammy, and I will start sharing my screen. Okay, here we are. Oh, not this particular screen. That's the Facebook Live being recorded. And let's start with this. Okay, so the first thing that I'd like to talk about here briefly is this is our landing page when it comes to our team support. You don't send that to a prospect, as we know. And there's some things that Tammy and I are constantly working on, improving on, but this is a resource for associates, right? And you know that there is a lot of documents over here. There's the webinar. This link is towards this webinar. We have an active team calendar, which I tend to constantly update with all our events. Learning more. There's a lot of information there. I'm not going to go through this because we've done training on that before. You can do this on your own. There's a lot of trainings here. So we do recommend to familiarize yourself. But the reason we're bringing you here is when you get to the bottom of the page, there is a subscribe. This is really, really important because if you get into a habit of getting a new associate to subscribe, you're starting the automation of your business. Because we have a series of what we call follow-up series emails, starting with a welcome email that they will receive, that's the next stage Tammy and I will talk about. But automatically, the person who's driven, when you get a leader, you don't have to do much. Because obviously you have to teach them, you have to train them, but a leader tend to be self-motivated. You don't need to call them. You don't need to remind them their ownership. You don't need to remind them they have to go prospect. You don't need to show them how to recruit people. They tend to, it's like second nature. And that's when you know you got a leader. And when you bring this kind of activities automatic that you get your activity, let me rephrase that. When you do the steps in getting your associate to sign up with this email, they will receive the welcome email. And from there, when you receive the welcome email, now some of you might have received it years ago, right? And if you go in and re-register on Active Team, it will not send it to you again because it knows that you have received that email. But if you didn't receive it, what I will do is on the comment section of this video when it's uploaded on our YouTube channel, as you know, activeteamtraining.com, you select for the playlist, which is the Go for Diamond webinars. It's always the most recent one. On the comment section, I will put a link to that actual email so you can go and reference it. And what you see here, these are just codes because it is database driven. So each individual, as they register, the system will recognize that this is Mary, for example, will say, hello, Mary. We want to let you know how excited we are. Okay, so that's what they will receive. And these are the 5 steps that you want them to get through. And you may want to confirm that they are doing this. And because we're dealing with different markets like Nigeria and Ghana, there's also reference to the new associate orientation. But right now, I'm just going to stick around with the North American details over here. And before I start listing the steps, Tammy, did you want to add something?
No, I think that's fine. Let's just go right ahead and show them the links. So,
yeah, so I'm not going to click on all the links here, but I'm just going to walk you through it very quickly. And then we'll get into the new associate orientation briefly so you have an idea of what's going on here. So this is the first step where you want them to access the new associate orientation because it has all the information you need in reference to learning the basics of the business, registering, setting their max pay. Everything is in there. You just need to do a search and you don't have to read the entire document if you don't want to, but the information is there from A to Z, okay? This is a training called the New Associate Orientation that matches the New Associate Orientation document, which Tammy and I are constantly updating. And then the third step is the board. As you know, now we're evolving into apps, right? And then the board is a beautiful app. We'll touch on that also on this call. And these are certain links over here. For example, you click on that, it'll simply take you to the actual board and get you to register. I'm not going to go through this right now. We have trainings that walks you through that. Okay, did I lose my... I lost my email just once. Let me get it from
Here
you.
it is.
So from there, so this is here is how to install it, right? Just the details on how to install the board and everything else if you need some help. Okay, and I'm using my cell phone, so this is something good. And if you have your cell phone here this evening, it might be good because you can actually test something in real time as we're sharing this here this evening. Okay, so this is step number 3, is to connect to our board. Step number 4, this is very important because what we're going to be doing now is we are migrating into a new tool called Telegram. Okay, we do have the Messenger on Facebook, but Telegram brings a whole new different levels of features and tools. You can have up to 1,000 members in there. So this is what we're going to be using in the future. So if you're not registered on Telegram yet, I do recommend that you do so you don't miss out on some important information. Okay, we're not going to get rid of the Facebook Messenger group. It's always going to be there, but it's not going to be as active as we move in the future. Okay, so this is step number 4, because as we start introducing new people to the process, this is what they're going to be exposed to, not the Facebook Messenger group. Okay, so very important that you know that. So a lot of the new people are not going to see what's going on the Messenger group. And the last step is be sure to connect to the active customer experience. And the reason for that is this is designed for your customers to actually have an experience in hearing what others are saying in reference to their product. And this is something that's very, very important. Just recently, we have some Philippine beautiful stories. And prior to that, we have some great testimonials and stories from the North Americans. We have Beth over here. We have other testimonies that was actually Bernie and so forth, right? So what's happening here, here's Mireille, here's Joel sharing some information on the product. Here's beautiful Linda over here. And then we have Chuck, who's sharing his story with the meta switch and so forth. So again, this is designed to get your customers and your associates that are also interested to learn about the product. And this is going to grow and grow and grow in popularity. So this is important that you are aware of that. So again, what I talk about by automating your business, this is what I mean, is everybody gets this welcome letter. And if you don't have that letter or you registered years ago and you'd like to have a reference to it, I will actually put a reference to this particular email into the reference portion of this training. So I do recommend you go back and get that. Okay, any other comments you want to add to this, Tammy, before we get into the new associate orientation?
Well, as you go into the boards training, you'll see that it all aligns. Chris and
Yes.
I had a look at it, and
we'll get that for sure. But let me just kind of quickly go through it. Is when you get into the new associate orientation here, when you click on this, okay, now it's not that the associate does not have to go through all of this before they begin, but a lot of the questions that your team members have is actually in this document. Everything you possibly could need and want, everything is there. Autoship, retailer products, the onboarding. I mean, everything is in there. And you'll notice that there's often repetition because sometimes people may come from a different angle and we still want them to be exposed to, let's say, the onboarding process, which we'll get into a minute, right? Summaries, we talked about some question, do's and don'ts, Salgivity, etc. There's some links over here that are, again, part of our ecosystem of how we do things, the placement. We could go on. Which is important is the max pay. This is really important. Some people are building their businesses. They never set their max pay. There's money in the account and it just sits there and they just don't know. So again, this is very important that if they're aware of this, again, you automate it. In some cases, you may have to visit them a little bit, making sure they go through it. But the fact is you want to automate your business by making sure that every time a new member enrolls, that they register and you get that welcome letter. This is really, 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 really important. Okay. So now I'm going to shift to the board. And Tammy, I'm going to turn this over to you to start chatting about the components of the board, and I will just maneuver through it. Please go ahead.
All right. So go right into obviously you have the 3 different languages. So whatever language your
English,
new
French, and Spanish.
associate
Yeah.
it is, you have the three languages, English, French, and Spanish. And it's all the same structure in that. There might be a little bit more English if the other languages have not been done yet, but I know that we've had a lot of tremendous help from Lucy for the French market, and maybe some of the other French leaders here. And I know Luce has been working with Marcel as well to help out as needed. So we go right into the onboarding process, and that's really the folder we're going to focus on.
Yeah. So keep in mind, sorry, Tammy, keep in mind that there's a lot of information here that you can go through that many of you have already done, but this is what we're going to be focused on right now on the onboarding, which is what the call is all about this evening.
So when you go into the first steps, the first information folder, and then the moment somebody signs up, you click on this and boards and click on it, Chris. And you send this letter. Obviously, you need to make sure you fill in the information. So congratulations, Jane. You are now registered as a Max Associate. Your Max ID. I highly recommend to remove those stars and just put the ID number.
Well, it's not a recommendation. I think it's an absolute necessity.
I know, but some people might not do it, Chris. So that's why it's important to say to remove it on this training.
Correct.
So yeah, so just put the name, put the ID numbers and the numbers, and then your user, and log into the virtual office, whatever that is. Now, some of them have already signed up on their own, so you wouldn't know their password. Okay, so you can remove that part.
Or you could say your password. Just type in your password, your ID, something like that.
Okay, yeah. So again, you can play with this with your own wording on how you would communicate, but make sure that this letter is sent out regardless whether they went and signed up on their own. So you explain to them how they can log in, as you can see there, and you can access to important materials to help you get started. After reviewing getting started tools, let me know if you have any questions. I would address them. And again, you don't want to chase people. This is literally part of an assignment when you're asking them to let you know once they go through the process. So they're going to go through these this Google sheet if you want to Google Drive. And
you want me to click on that, Tammy?
Yeah, that's where the information is. And that's what you want them to download. Some of them they'll be watching. There's videos for them to watch, and there's the PDF documents there. So you want them to watch all 3 videos, and then you want them to download the documents for you to start working with them on these documents by giving them assignments. So go back, Chris. I just want to show you what's on there on the initial letter that you're going to be sending them. And then to join our Facebook group, please click the link below. And then you will also be added to our WhatsApp platform to help you get all information on daily basis on Max events, testimonies, entrepreneurship, and training on how to build your Max business. Please note, we follow a strict policy and allow only Max related posts in our WhatsApp platform. I know, Chris, we might want to put Telegram platform.
Yes,
there.
as a matter of fact. And these are things that Tammy are doing is you don't have to worry about this, folks, because we're working on that and we're updating and changing some of the things as we're moving forward. So it's not going to be WhatsApp. It'll be Telegram, because we know WhatsApp has a limitation of 100 people. We don't want to be stuck with that, which we had problem before. So Telegram, as the limit is much, 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 much higher, and that will be more than enough.
All right, so that's the first information, the first welcome that you're going to send to them through a message. And then crucial conversation folder, please don't put this one aside, because this is how you're teaching them how to work with you. So you're not doing this business for them, that they're going to build their business. And don't miss any step. This is the conversation part that you're going to have with them. So if you go into number 1, you want to send them a message. Congratulations to you for going through the process. You have done so well. Now, not everyone has the courage to take an entrepreneurship, and I commend you for that. So if the wording is perfect for you, if that's the way you communicate, it's a simple process, you guys.
And Tammy, I just want to mention that this is the kind of thing that you can share. See, right now I'm using my desktop. On my cell phone, I would have a little icon, as you know, to be able to share with whatever environment that it is: email, Facebook Messenger, Telegram, whatever it is that you use to communicate with your member. That's what you would do. And again, just want to reiterate that you can change the wording as you see fit. These are just basic guidelines. That's number 2.
Okay, so then you said this one: my goal is to help you become independent of me as quickly as possible. Do you agree that it's a good goal? And you don't want to keep sending all of it. This is conversation. You're going back and forth on each one of these messages. And then you're going to get clarity on the process. This is that critical conversation that you're going to have with people when they initially get started. You know, personally, when I've signed up people that were experiencing network marketing, I tend not to send this, but moving forward, I think I'm just going to focus only on systems and let the system do the work so people see and follow through with the system. And I recommend you do the same thing, because often we just assume that, you know, they know what they're doing, but it's good that they see a system that they can leverage and walk people through. So you want to go back? You want to go through the whole process, Chris? Or?
No, I don't think we need to. I think what's important, guys, is for you to click on every one of them. And again, these are designed to instill into your prospect that you're not Mother Teresa, if you understand my meaning. Your goal is to be a partner with them, not to take on a new child in your family, if you understand my meaning. So I hope you get my logic here, is that you want to become independent. You want him to become independent from you, not dependent on you. Because when you leave your city, or you don't show up, or you go on vacation, or something happens and you need to disconnect for a minute, your team doesn't stop working. Okay, so this is all steps to help them and instill the idea that I'm here to support you, not to do the work for you. And often what has been happening, because we're so desperate to get volume in, we tend to do all the work for them. It might be okay for the first week, the second week, maybe the first month, but this goes on after 3 years. You don't have a business that's duplicating. So these are my thoughts on that, Tammy, so we can carry on.
All right. So the next step would be the assignments. After they agreed with the crucial conversation, go through that so you understand everything that you're going to be sending. Like I mentioned, practice. Just pick one of the associates or one of your business partners and just go back and forth in conversation to get a feel for the flow. All right. So this is the tools. And again, this Google Drive was already sent through the welcome letter. So here's a link to your getting started tools, where you will find important information to help you start your business. And then they click on that. You want them to watch the 3 videos, as I mentioned, because often people get the welcome letter and they don't click on anything. That's why you need to do these conversations through messages and go through step by step with them. So your assignment is to watch the 3 videos, which will take less than 15 minutes, and also download the 3 PDF documents as well. And once you have reviewed, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so number 2, the next step. After they've done all of this, then you're moving them to the next step. Now that you've downloaded the Getting Started tools, it's time to start completing the items in your Getting Started checklist. You want to show the checklist or no, Chris?
Sure. I mean, I can go back to the Google Drive, right? And
Just so you see the process. And I recommend to download all of these so you know what process you're going to be sending them. There's so much great stuff and a great system here for everybody to have it at hand. Okay, so watch the welcome video. Ensure you have been added to the, we should put
yeah, all of that's going to be updated for sure.
Yeah.
We're working with Marcel and updating all these things now.
Correct. So join the Active Team Group Facebook page, Crown Diamond Global Impact Facebook page, contact Upline for a game plan, and meeting within 72 hours. Create a customer list of 20 people, create a prospect list of 50 people, contact Upline to help you create your MyMax Pay, and listen to the GoPro by Eric Worre. And I know there's a couple things on there that I'm not familiar with, Chris, at the bottom. I don't know.
That's okay. We'll fix that. So at the end of the day, folks, I mean, at the end, if they've done these first ones over here, you are in business. Okay. So we're doing some changes. We're doing some modification. We're updating some things, but you listen to that. If they're doing this, right now, they're connected to the Facebook page. Now they're connected to the Crown Diamond Global Impact. So now they're exposed to the 90-day run that we're doing within the group. And I hope that some of you have been part of that. It's very helpful. And we're literally mimicking what the Eric Worre accelerator is doing. And it's really doing well. I see a lot of participation. And even if they're coming late in the game, they're all recorded, and you go on the features and you can start day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. They can go back and do this. So again, a leader, you don't have to tell them to do that. They're hungry for information so they can be successful. So that's what this does, right? And of course, we added a few more things that we might remove, we may change, because again, we're evolving. But we want you to understand that the process that we have over here is really designed to be a turnkey operation to automate your business. At first, it may be a little foreign for you to follow things like that, but I'm telling you that if you do, it will change your life.
Yeah, and you can follow through every process with them. The checklist, ask them to screenshot it and send it over to you, so you know that they've gone through whatever they've gone through by a certain deadline that they said they would go through it. And that way you're keeping them accountable as well. And you'll see that's through part of the crucial conversation. It's in that conversation part. And then you've got the game plan meeting, which you want to set up with them within 72 hours. Set up a Zoom session and go through that, what day and time works for you. And then reminder, if you can handle the game plan meeting yourself, take them through. If not, contact one of your leaders and they would be more than willing to assist. Now, as I see this, I know that I get contacted a lot, and there's a lot of new people coming aboard, and the new people don't know how to do this with the new person. So Chris and I sat down yesterday going through all the redos and videos that we need to create to have a better system in place. So we'll have a video that's going to walk them through that 72-hour, the most important thing for them to get started, and showing them their website, how to sign somebody up, which I do personally with a lot of people on Zoom, but that will be automated.
Absolutely. And the thing is that one thing that Eric is teaching us a lot, which we know, but we haven't reinforced it that much, but now in our time and age, it's critical, is you always have to give people assignments, things to do. If you just tell them something and you hang up on that note, nothing's going to get done. You got to give them assignments. And if people don't deliver on these assignments, you got your answer. If they're going to, if it's worth it for you to spend all this time and effort to train them. This is very important. You get this. The fact is all the information is there. In fact, someone could turn around and become a Crown Diamond without ever talking to us, just by looking at all the information that's available. But we know folks don't work that way. Okay, so we do need to encourage a little bit. And that's the reason why we have these modules to help you encourage your team to do these assignments. Absolutely critical. So I recommend that you go through them. You go through them. And as we're evolving with the 90-day run right now with the accelerator, which is transcended on the Crown Diamond Global Impact, so all of you will get that information. We are doing updates, changes that are relevant to the times of today on how social media is taking such a big part on how we do our business. So you don't need to worry about all of this stuff. All you need to do is use the system as is and start getting your team to get used to be part of the automated process. This is the message here this evening, by doing the onboarding. And then you can walk them through these things, and because they may not be aware that it's there, they may not know about boards, they may not know about apps. So you may have to do a little bit of hand holding at the beginning, but once you get them rolling, right? And then you remove those two wheels on the back of the bike and you're trying to get them to start pedaling. As you remember, once upon a time, we were learning how to, bike ride. Eventually they'll run on their own. Next thing you know, they're going 100 miles an hour. But at the beginning, it takes a bit more time. You have to take, but that's the point, is that this is what this is there. And this has been created, I would say, for a good 18 months now, but it's constantly getting updated. As you noticed on the tools and getting started with the checklist, there's a few things that we need to update that were there, that were relevant 3 years ago, that today things has evolved. Okay. But the system does not change. The information is all relevant. So Tammy, is there anything else that you want to continue on this before I move on?
Yes. So as we update things, we'll let you know in the Telegram group, so you can go and check it out and check out the documents or the videos, whatever it is that we'll be updating. But we'll be actively doing that in the next 11, 12 weeks. We have quite a few things we need to do, which leads into all of our Go for Diamond sessions. So
I wanted to add this, Tammy. See, this is something that's important to keep in mind, is you know this, that when you get the welcome letter, that we tell people to download the board. But what if they didn't do it? What if the letter ended up in a junk mail and you never saw it? We know this happens. So this is the reason why often information is repeated in a different direction or a different sequence as you go through the system. But I tell you that they will be exposed to that information anyway, right? And here's the link to connect to the board. You click on that, and again, it's the same link. Okay. So these are all things that are all part of the assignments. And it's up to you. We're here to guide you. You have to choose to be part of it. If you do, I believe that your income will grow and your volume will grow and your team will grow. If you choose not to, then again, we don't know what will happen. So that's of course, you're getting action. Again, these are all things that is to encourage people to do the activities, make sure they went through the list, make sure they checked they organize their max pay and everything else. And that's what the onboarding is all about in reference to the assignments.
Yeah, you're going to see when you sign up people who are entrepreneurial business people, influencers, and they see a system that's put in place, they're quite impressed. So you want to make sure that you follow through with the system with them and have them go through the system, because people, I think there's a reputation in the network marketing realm. And, people get tired of babysitting. They say, I don't want to be an adult daycare. I'm sure some of you have felt that in your businesses at some point, unless you haven't signed anybody up in the business yet. But those who are in, you know what I'm talking about. And, but when you have a system in place that you could follow through, give them assignment, move on, go contact some new people, set up some new appointments, go back, find out, if they've done their assignment. If they haven't done their assignment, just say, hey, is everything okay? Move on and go to the next thing. So you're not caught up on people not doing anything. So you don't have to, hold your business back or think that you're not doing what you need to do to move them forward. You're giving them the goods. And if they choose not to move forward, then that is a decision that they're taking for themselves. And you just got to keep moving forward and don't get hung up on people not doing the assignments or not doing the work. And just, I always say, just love on everybody. And when people are ready, you can't stop them. You can't. They're running. They're going to run. So.
Okay. So from there, one thing that's very important is here's an assignment that's very important, right? Review the Goal C Max playlist. Okay. So the Goal C Max, now, of course, there's also the French side, which, as I mentioned, we have a French parallel to that. So it'll be the French version over here, but you would actually click on Goal C Max and click on Goal C Max. Then you will actually have, now, because I'm actually on my computer, it doesn't work on the board when you're on your computer, but in your cell phone, it's designed to be used with your cell phone. It will actually send you to the YouTube channels that has the 3 videos. So why are we asking people to do that as an assignment? Because before you send a prospect to a link for them to view, you kind of have to be aware of what you're sending to those prospects. So that's the meaning behind that. That's why it's also part of the assignment and going through the first information, first steps. So carry on, Tammy.
Okay, so the next one, you've got the your target is to find 5 people. This is the target for the 5 associates. So if that's in the process that you're walking them through at that moment, this is what you want to send them. You want to have a descriptive message on how to get to prime 1. Okay, you've got the graph there, but you also have a descriptive message as well. Mm-hmm. And then we've got the new associate orientation Dropbox.
Same thing here. We will say use the same thing that you would have in a welcome letter if you didn't get it for whatever reason, and the details are there. You see, that's why the automation is so important. So people are exposed to that information, so you don't have to babysit every step of the way.
And often people want direction on a strategy. I know I do. When I work, I want a strategy to work with. And so reaching your core rank is the most important strategy, which is bronze. Because once somebody gets to bronze, then now they can teach it. And most people who got to bronze have got at least prime 1. Most people. Okay, so you've got the PDF strategy along with the video that you could, if they have any questions, you can walk them through this process. Mm-hmm. And make sure that all of you value your time. Okay, make sure that they're going through the process. Then when they have questions, that's when you go back to the document, set up a quick Zoom session with them, or you can do it on a message, finding out where they're stuck in the process. So you're not just doing the work for them.
Just to add some reference of context over here, as you know, the way to build with the prime is defined over here. These are the 5 steps. But as Tammy stated, there's a video that was created on reaching your core rank, which is a really, really good strategy. So as you watch this video over here, okay, well, this over here is a reference to that video, which in that video, that also PDF will actually be referenced, and they have access to it over here. Whereas they find their first 6 and each of their 6 to get 3 and get each of those 3 from those 6 to get 1. And when you do that, you've achieved the rank of bronze just by them being on autoship. Okay. So again, I'm sparing you the details here, but everything is there. So this is why the onboarding process is very important. And here's something that's important to keep in mind. Again, we just finished the first steps over here, and I do recommend that you do your homework. And this evening as an assignment is go to the board and go through the onboarding process and click in every subdirectories that we just shared with you. So you familiarize yourself with the content. Those of you who do that will evolve this year. If you don't do that, then I can't guarantee you results. But I can tell you that if you're aware of this, you are much better prepared to engage a new person in getting started and giving them some direction to start their businesses. So you
And
want to
just
carry
one
on?
more quick thing, Chris,
Yeah.
because sometimes, you're in the business and you sign somebody up, and maybe you don't have a lot of time to build this business. But the person you brought in, because you gave them direction and walked them through these important steps, they may run with this and do this without you, which is absolutely huge. Every single leader prays for people like that, that once you get them set up, once they know the process, then they're duplicating it within their organization. Now you have one leader. The goal is to get another one, right? So make sure, even if you don't have a lot of time to build this, do these steps. You have no idea how valuable this is for somebody who's an entrepreneur that is looking for systems. Chris and I go out to events. We talk to people. I talk to people who quit this industry, came back into this industry. As a matter of fact, came with us because of the system that we had in place. They'd never seen anything like it. That's what they said. So this is important, this stuff.
It really is. It absolutely really, really is. And this is something that I've always built my life around, is systems, and to get people to follow systems. And I tend to maybe lack a bit of patience on micromanaging, but there's a reason for that. There's no money in micromanaging. There's no money. You will just kill yourself doing so much work with tiny, tiny, tiny results. So you got to make sure that you choose your battles, a matter of speaking. Don't just pick them all. In other words, what I mean by that, maybe it's not the right expression, but I think you know what I'm talking about, is choose to partner with someone that tends to return the favor in showing their commitment. And for me, when they go through these steps and I ask them questions and they always give me an excuse as to why it hasn't been done, well, I mean, that's an answer to me. And I will always be available to that person, but I'm certainly not going to be calling them, reminding them of their authorship every week or every month. It's not going to happen. So, and maybe that's the reason why we tend to be surrounded by strong leadership, because the weak leadership tend to fall sideways. The strong leadership, they know what to do. I will give them all the information they need. Tammy and I will do everything we can to make sure that person has everything they need to grow, but they need to do the work, and they need to actually do the assignments and show that there's an exchange, that we're not just talking on deaf ears. Okay. So when you ask them to go through this and they follow up and you send them those steps and they respond, all of that, again, you use that through your Instagram or Facebook Messenger or whatever media you use to communicate with that person. And that's how this collaboration will grow. The relationship will grow. The leadership will evolve. And that's what this is doing for you. So Tammy, why don't we walk through the second step?
Yeah, so there's just some tracking sheets here. As you can see, some people need that guideline on what some of the things to do, but there's that getting started right. You can send them that quick message. That's, that they could be doing on a regular basis as well. Start by writing 5 best names. This one's kind of repeated a little bit, but like Chris said,
by design.
Often you need to repeat things again later on, because not everybody catches everything the first time around. So kind of, it's like that review with them. Make sure they have a notepad, make sure that they're writing down the names, make sure they're continually adding to the list of names. You want to make sure that you're getting them started right. Even if they're in and they've been in and they started right and they've kind of, you need to move them forward. You got to move the needle sometimes with people.
Correct.
So you've got the how to use the 5x5 tracking sheet right there. You got the 5 steps on how to go through the process for somebody who needs that guidance. So many people need that visual guidance on what to do. Not everybody is just intuitive. It's just going to do this. Some people just need that in front of them to give them a guidance on that. And this is all the money making activity. So if you go to the chart, Chris, when you send them the instructions, you send them this as well. Okay, so this way they keep track of their week: 5 new prospects, 5 new exposures, 5 new conversations, 5 new follow-ups, 5 new decisions, whether it's social media or belly to belly. This is a good tracking sheet, right? And by the end of the week, you ask them at the end of the week, regardless what they do, as their sponsor, you want them to screenshot that tracking sheet and send it to you so you can have a look at it. So that way you'll know what kind of guidance you need to do moving forward, working with your personal associates. And this is with your personal associates. You shouldn't be doing this with your personals, or your personals. You got to train your frontline people how to do the basics. Now, if they've fallen off and they're gone, it's a totally different story. But
Now,
everybody should be guiding their people. And then you've got finding new people to talk to. You've got
one thing, Tammy, here, sorry for cutting in. I just want to add this because, and I'll let you finish that, is here's an example of what's going on, right? So for example, if I put it aside for a moment and I bring this here, okay? These are my notes today on lead generation, okay? And what's happening here, this is going to happen on Wednesday on the Crown Diamond Global Impact, is this guy, Fraser, is actually teaching you how to actually access and find some leads using pages on Facebook. Brilliant, brilliant approach, okay? So what's going on is this is fresh information that will be added on finding new people to talk to. This is what I mean by we're constantly evolving and adapting. All you need to do is, if your team is used to be plugged in to an automated process where they can get the information, and suddenly there'll be updates. So just thought of mentioning that. Back to you, Tammy.
Mm-hmm. So you've got the in-person folder and you've got the social media. You want to open those up for a second, Chris? And we highly recommend you go through your first folder first and then the second folder after. So anyone you come in contact with is a potential customer or business partner. That, I believe, is going to change. I mean, you can have conversations with people, but you really want to drive and build out target markets and the environment that you want to be in when you're connecting. But yes, you're going to go to weddings, you're going to go to baby showers, you're going to go to church, you're going to go to all these things, the gym, and you're just going to meet people. That's a normal process. But we will have some work on target marketing as well moving forward. So conversation starters, things that you can do when you're connecting with people. Of course, when you're in person, the easiest thing to do is smile at them, looking right in the eyes. You got to make that eye contact and smile. You can't be looking down and smiling. You're not going to make that connection. So I like to compliment people. And guys have to be very careful with that, when you're complimenting women, because some women, they get very offended. So you just have to, pick things that you could compliment that, you want to be careful with. Women, we can get away with murder, but guys, it's a little bit more of a different story, but make sure that it's very professional. Whatever you do, make sure that it's very professional. And then you've got the social media folder. You can check that out. Training prospects, social media, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok. Some of our leaders had done some great trainings on that. We are also going to be adding some stuff to that as we evolve on social media. So
yeah, that social media segment. Yeah, that social media segment is really, we're going to beef that up with some content that's going to blow your mind. Today, what I found was amazing. I said, wow, it's just some brilliant tactics, some hacks and things. So this is the reason why I sent a message today that this call is very important, because those of you that choose to be part of the system will have automatically exposed your downline, your new people to that information. If you ignore this stuff, then it becomes completely transparent to you and your team, and people will evolve and some will not. So this is why it's very important that you follow the process of plugging into the system and letting the system automate your business so you can live the life that you want to live and not the life that you have to live. Back to you, Tammy.
All right, so you can go back to the next folder. So you've got the warm-up messages there. You can go through the warm-up messages. They could be old contacts with memories. Yeah, you can old contacts, so you can compliment them, just different things that you can say in conversation. Have a look at this stuff. Like I said, sometimes you read something and you go, okay, but I'm not going to say good day to anybody. I got people, you know, my old contacts, they know how I communicate. So it's going to be more personalized. I'm going to say, hey, Sylvie, or whoever I'm talking to, because they know me, right? So
I wouldn't say that either.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. But again, these are things that will, again, this is what I mean, where you need to adapt the script based on your style, but that's just a base for you. And again, a lot of these things are going to get updated in the next few weeks, the upcoming weeks, as we get all the new latest and greatest and utilizing social media interaction.
Mm-hmm. So read the scripts, and you know, you can put something on this on the side of some of the scripts that you like that you can easily copy and paste to send people to, if you know, if these scripts don't align and you don't want to have to retype stuff. You just want to get something that's going to work with your personality type, and it's got to work really comfortably for you.
So we have about 8 minutes
sharing
to
your
finish
story.
the hour. Yeah.
Yeah, sharing your story. So we've got the craft your story training. We've got the structure of creating the story. You've got a link on Canva to be able to create your stories, as all of you have done, but you have to make sure that your team members can use that template and create their own stories with their own pictures in the background when they're ready to do that. The faster you get your associate to get their story and they create their script and put that out there, the more excited they're going to be in building this business, the more traction that they're going to get. So the goal is to get your brand new associate to get a product story as quick as possible, even if it's, I got more energy. Everybody can relate to not having energy. You know, it could be a simple thing, because I used to think that, oh, I don't really have much of a story, but I do. And it's relatable to a lot of people. You know, at the beginning when I started, mental clarity was, I was all over the map. I wasn't focused, and I get on the product and all of a sudden I'm focused, and at night I had more energy. Like, you know, your story is important. That's my message to all of you. So you've got the videos in there. You've got, we move these over into this folder to help the new people craft their story, look at your
some
story,
examples,
get some ideas for examples. They've got the Canva that they can use the template, and then they can, those who are comfortable to do a video, encourage people to do these things. That's what's going to get them more and more excited about their businesses.
So it's just basically, this is about your story, and this is important. Again, this is the second step. Now we're going to the last portion on inviting, which is absolutely critical. And what's happening here, that's a training that we did. And just to keep it also for you aware, is all the Go for Diamond calls that are coming as of next Monday, we're going to be redoing a lot of these trainings with new branding, new style, new update information, and that will be updated on the Success Cycle series. Okay, so it's really important that your team are plugged in. And once these calls are recorded, of course, we're going to make them available and replace. Again, they don't need to do anything else other than knowing the board is there and the link gets replaced on the board. And for them, it's just automatic. And one thing that you go under learning over here and you have the tools available is on the active team website, there is an enormous amount of information. For example, first information that you want to send them, and it explains to you what's available, what you will find here on the site and what to watch. Visit the active team here. And again, so the website with follow-ups, and this would be,
Business.
The business aspect of things. Again, it talks about continued products and business overview. And so, so again, there's some tools here for you to be able to prepare and be aware of what is available, what you can send to your prospects, or for them to be aware where to get information. That's why we put that into the onboarding process, so they know where they can gather that information. Okay. And as we keep going over here, then you have the first information. This is the first thing you send to someone, right? So you want to carry on, Tammy, on that? We have like 3
I actually
minutes.
like when I send somebody the first information, because I want them to watch their first 2 videos, I always put the disease sheet. When people open that up and look at it, they're going to find something in that sheet that they're challenged with. They will. So that's why I encourage them to look at the document and then watch the videos, because they're going to find themselves in there when they look at that.
And there's some things that we're going to change, because between you and I never wait for someone to give me the thumbs up that they watch something. It is not going to happen. You'll be waiting forever. So this is going to change. Okay. So a lot of time, Tammy and I have grabbed information that we passed on over here, but basically you need to follow up within, and we train that on our follow-up process, where you don't wait them to get back to you, but you suggest a time. Let me call you back in 12 hours, 24 hours, whatever you had in your discussion. And all of that's going to be reflected over here. So that's the first information. We have here the company website, which is the mymaxoffice.com. And these are examples of presentation. I believe this was Jasmine and I, and we talked, that was the product presentation segment. That's the business plan. If you happen to be liking that one, you can share that if you want. But this is to give you an idea of the information that's being passed on. When you go to the Goal C Max, well, the Goal C Max will actually contain the feel good, the science, and this is the presentation I did with David, okay, David Adams. And it's a guy that we met in Hawaii, like, I don't know, 10 years ago, 11 years ago. And we've known him quite a while, and it's just intuitive. He's a master speaker, he's phenomenal. And that for some of you may resonate to this one. And you send him this one. It's very simple, 3 videos to watch. Okay. So, so in a nutshell, the details are there as a first information to send. Zoom meetings, again, these are the presentation that we do on a weekly basis. Everything is there, and it's pointing to the Crown Diamond Global Impact. And so everything is getting updated very quickly here as we move forward. And it's just this, again, it's just an example of how to invite him to a live Zoom session. So this overall is the second step. So think about it. Once they went through first step and second step, they know everything they need to know to do the activities to build a business. The rest is just gravy. It's just like a dictionary. You need to learn the spelling of a certain word. You happen to be crossing it by, you do a search, you go to dictionary and you find it. So look at it that way, right? And that's what a lot of these documents are all about. You happen to meet someone in Cameroon. And so in this case, the information would be, displayed in these subdirectories in Nigeria, Singapore, whatever. Okay, so this is the onboarding process. And this here is the most important aspect. Very, 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 very important. So tell me, as we come to an end here, go ahead.
A lot for people, especially the new people. That's why you need to guide them. Only keep them in the onboarding process folder until they see what's available step by step as you give them an assignment to go through one of the folders. Once they go through the folder, do you have any questions on the folder? No, I got it all. Perfect. Great, let's get to the next folder. And then that way you're walking them through each folder so they know what's in the folders that they can use when they're building their business. And then you're not going to get those messages all the time. I say that because I get bombarded saying, hey, I just talked to somebody and I don't remember where you talked about where this is. And then I would guide them right back to the boards. I'm not going to give it to them. I do not give it to them. The moment you start giving the new people the information, you just undid all this training you just did with them. Totally undid it. So guide them back to the process. So you got to know your stuff as a sponsor and as a leader of your organizations.
Beautiful, Tammy. And as we come to an end, just want to address some of the comments over here. So Allison, I believe that, again, the information, if you go back to the training, I actually answered that in the process on the onboarding process from getting the initial welcome document. But the answer is right there, and Sylvie answered it, is you just go to activeteamgroup.com and you go down to the pinboard area and you select the link to connect to the board. If you have any problems, just connect with Tammy or I. But technically, folks, it's pretty straightforward. You put your email, you register, you answer the couple questions they have, and automatically it will recognize, because you came from the link that belongs to the Active Team board, and it will automatically populate the app with that, and everything is available. If you have some challenges, sometime it happens, we can fix that. And just quickly, sometimes what happens is, let's say you install the board and you click the link and it's just not showing. Uninstall the board, reinstall it, and do it again. It works every time. Okay, so that's the worst possible case that I've seen. Just wanted to continue the comment here. Karen, yeah, this is great feedback. I'm glad to hear this. And you know what it is that the more we evolve, the more we learn, you know, the more we try to simplify the process and automate our businesses so we can help you grow. At the end of the day, you have to do the rest by reaching out to folks and inviting folks to join in. Okay. That's wonderful. And thank you for the feedback, Linda. And okay, now for those of you that are looking for the welcome letter, here's what I'm going to do, because some of you, I don't mind sending it directly to you, but it might be another handful of folks that are looking for it. I'm going to put it, when you go to activeteamtraining.com, activeteamtraining.com, when you do that, you will see all the trainings of 1,000 videos that are there. That's why the next step is important. Select for playlists and look for Active Team webinars, Active Team webinars, okay, or go for Diamond webinars. I mean, the moment you type it, it will search it, right? When you say webinar, it will search whatever the word webinar, and you'll see it. Go for Diamond webinars. You click on that, and you will see that the one that we just did tonight will be uploaded tomorrow by Marcel, and it'll be right there, okay? And then when you go in the comment section, I will put a reference to that initial letter. Because if you've already been connected to the Active Team database and you try to register your email again, it will not send it to you again because it knows, it doesn't want to spam you. It knows you've already received it, but you can download it from there. So then you can access it and know exactly what your guests or your new associates, because you have to be registered for that, obviously on the Active Team, and then they will receive that email letter. Keep in mind that sometimes it ends up in people's junk mail. It's a reality of today. You have to remind them to check their junk mail and to make sure that they want to whitelist that contact@activeteamgroup.com. So whatever email they receive will never be under their junk mail. But that's just, again, food for thought. But if you do want me to send you that email, what I recommend is email contact@activeteamgroup.com. Can someone type this in the chat? I'm the worst typer in the world. So someone can just type in contact@activeteamgroup.com. Tammy was laughing at me today as I was taking my notes. Every 5 words is a red line underneath. She was just laughing at me. It's just not my cup of tea. Okay, thank you, Tammy. So contact, just email me that and I will respond. Okay, I will do that one time for this call, But again, I'm telling you that it will be available on the comment section. Okay, so we went 5 minutes over here. Thank you everybody for attending tonight. Was there anything else, Tammy, you want to add?
No, I think everything's clear. I mean, the most important thing is start with the first folder information. I know Marie, Paul, I don't know if you're trying to, you're on mute. I don't know if you're trying to talk or, okay. All right.
Okay, all is well. Okay, everybody. So if you have any questions, my suggestion is in the video that will be sitting on the YouTube channel, just post them in the comments. I pay attention to these things. And the other thing, if you happen to also send it to the Telegram group, okay? And just very quickly here, I just want to make sure that I give you the link to register right here. I'm going to copy the link and I'm going to put it into the chat to simplify your life. Excuse me for the big ugly link because I got it from an email that's controlled by Wix, and they do these kind of things. But when you click on that, it will send you to the group for you to register. That will be part of the Telegram group. I highly recommend you do not wait for that, because we want to make sure that you immediately adapt to the new system. I think right now we have 14 people that transition to that group, and I want to make sure that everybody has access to that. Okay. So everybody have yourself a wonderful evening. Hope that this was helpful. And as of next Monday, we're going to be doing a series of training that we are re-recording with updated information, an updated brand, starting with the Success Cycle series. That is a training envelope, basically the trainings that are available and all the basic components that you need to build your business, from building your lists, inviting, prospecting, inviting, following up, third-party credibility, getting people started, closing, call to action, things like that. We're going to be doing these training for the next 9 weeks. And we highly recommend for you to be part of that, because these are the building blocks to help you grow your business and add income to your home. Okay. Have a great night, everybody.
Yeah, get your new associates in these sessions and watch your business grow.
Okay. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Have a great week.